Coming up next on Psychic Detectives, the face of the killer emerges. But will it be Steve Adams? When the investigation into Anna Turetsky's murder stalls again, psychic Noreen Rainier conducts another reading.
I'm going to start describing the face of a person involved in her murder.
Using her sixth sense, Noreen will try to get a good look at the killer's face. Then she'll describe her vision to police sketch artist Mike Deal.
When I work with an artist describing the face, I don't ever really see the whole face. I see eyes, I see shape of face, I see nose, and it comes very quickly. His ears are not flat, but...
Lead Detective Duchinsky listens in from Michigan.
I agreed to do it, doing a favor for Ann's daughter, because I could feel the frustration with that family on not being able to solve the case.
More large, nose, some width to the nose. Mouth has a more shapely upper lip, some width to it. I feel the face pop out at me.
Slowly, the face of the killer emerges in startling detail.
Skin, the skin. I feel the skin is more dark. Could have some Indian, Mexican Indian.
After almost 2 hours, the session is over.
That's very similar to what I said, yes.
The sketches are immediately sent to Michigan.
I remember when they came, like a kid at Christmas time opening a package.
And what Duchinsky gets is more than he expected. He's seen this face before. It resembles Dr. Jasabi Desai, Anna Turetsky's business partner. After her death, he became the sole owner of both medical clinics, worth over $2 million. Now, investigators re-examine the business that Anna and Desai ran together, and when they recheck Desai's bank accounts, they find the evidence to crack the case wide open. A $2,018 check written from one suspect to another.
There was a check that Dr. Desai wrote to Steve Adams that he was trying to say was for maintenance work that was done on the clinics. The check was what the payoff was for the murder of my mother.
With this new evidence, police arrest Desai and Adams and charge them with the murder of Anna Turetsky. Finally, years after her death, Dr. Desai is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Adams is convicted of solicitation to commit murder and gets 10 months behind bars. To this day, investigators are still unsure what happened to Anna Turetsky in the hours after her disappearance.
The general thought was that apparently when Ann left the business that day, she was going to a meeting with Desai to straighten out the business problems. And the feeling was that wherever she got to, Adams was there and did his deed.
Now psychic Noreen Rainier can put the death of Anna Turetsky to rest.
I'm just so thrilled when they do have a successful conclusion. Between us both, we did it.
I always try to keep an open mind and try to see the big picture. I don't know if she has this power to hold somebody's glasses and know so much about them. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't.
A 17-year-old boy reports to work, then vanishes in the middle of his shift.
It was like He completely disappeared. No trace, no nothing.
His family is mystified, and in a desperate search for answers, turns to an unlikely source for help.
I have means and capabilities of going into areas, reaching into areas that the police cannot go into.
Can detectives use a psychic's vision to catch a kidnapper? These are the true stories of real cases and the psychics who help investigators solve their most baffling mysteries. Every fall in Malvern, Arkansas, the Eford family looks forward to the start of deer hunting season. It's 2 weeks of the year when 17-year-old Tyson can spend some quality time with his parents. But one night, Tyson doesn't show up as planned.
We'll go get four-wheeler.
Tyson was supposed to come down there when he got off work that night. We were in bed, but we were kind of waiting on him to get in. And we saw some headlights coming down the road. And Henry says, "That's not Tyson's truck."
The car belongs to Hot Spring County Sheriff Doyle Cook, and he's got disturbing news. Tyson's truck is still in the parking lot of the grocery store where he works, but Tyson is nowhere to be found.
His books were in the truck. His school books was there, and they wear a little apron there because he carries grocery stuff out.
Investigators find no signs of a struggle, no evidence of foul play, but enough suspicion to assemble a search team and fan out across the area looking for Tyson.
Being a teenager, you wonder right off, did he go with someone else? But knowing the boy, he wouldn't leave his pickup there and just go off and leave it.
And Anita Eford, Tyson's mother, knows that her son is not the type to just run off without telling anyone.
We never had any problems with Tyson. He always did what we asked him to do. He was responsible. He was just a good kid.
Investigators are racing against the clock. They know that the longer Tyson stays missing, the less chance they have of finding him unharmed.
After the first few hours, if they don't show up, in most cases that I've ever seen or dealt with, you're more apt to find they've been murdered.
24 hours pass, and the search grows more desperate. Henry and Anita Eford are both in law enforcement, and they vow to leave no stone unturned in the hunt for their son. But when a relative suggests consulting a psychic on the case, Anita Eford is unsure.
I was grasping at anything, anything that I thought could help us locate him. I was going for it. I would do whatever it took to try to find out where he was.
The Efords call Little Rock psychic Carol Pate, hoping that one of her visions might lead them to their son.
I use what's known as psychometry. I work like a radio station. I fine-tune my frequency to the frequency that I'm touching, and I can get any type of information that I basically need.
Over the years, she's learned to put her skills to use. She's helped hundreds of families and law enforcement agents find answers to baffling questions.
I don't have the facilities or the means or ways of solving the case, but I can give the police a way to go, a place to look, an area or an avenue that they did not know exists.
And that's exactly what she hopes to do as she heads to Malvern to meet with Henry and Anita Eford. Coming up next on Psychic Detectives, Carol Pate has a vision and gives the Efords a glimmer of hope.
First off, I want you to know that he's alive.
Visions of the unknown have been haunting her since she was a little girl.
I knew things. I knew what was going to be happening. I knew when somebody was going to die. It was very, very difficult. And there was no one there to explain it to me. No one.
While the manhunt for Tyson continues round the clock, Anita and Henry Eford request a consultation with Carol.
Let me explain how I work.
Carol asks for a photograph of Tyson. And when she touches his image, she immediately feels an intense and positive energy.
The first thing that I knew beyond a question was he was still alive. That was number one priority.
But frightening and violent images start flooding her mind.
I felt the trauma of the abduction. I was able then to get a combination of a visual where he was taken or being taken. It was country. And I knew that he was being kept in the back of this house. It was just, there was nothing to the house. It was just flat.
Carol also gets a feeling about the kidnapper.
I realized that this man was not very bright, and that his reasoning behind the abduction was random. It was not logical.
But Henry and Anita aren't so sure it was random. Both of them are in law enforcement.
I had been a juvenile officer for like 14 years. I thought I had dealt with some pretty rough delinquents, juvenile delinquents. Henry worked drugs and homicide. A bunch of drug dealers that he had arrested. And I thought, well, maybe they took him.
Investigators at the Hot Spring County Sheriff's Department reopen every case that Henry ever worked on. But that could take weeks, and the clock is ticking.
Normally, in 3 days of a kidnapping, they either ask for a ransom, they ask for something in return, or you find a body.
But then a tip comes in that breathes new life into the investigation. A witness who'd been shopping at the food center that night claims to have seen Tyson struggling with another man in the parking lot.
They thought it was just horseplay, but that's when the people got him, and they got in the truck and drove off.
Detectives send a sketch artist to work with the witness. Based on her description, he draws a likeness of the kidnapper. The composite runs in the Malvern newspaper the next day, but no one recognizes the face. Another 24 hours pass without any sign of Tyson.
We just could not get any leads, but it began to look like we possibly just wasn't going to find him.
As solid leads in the investigation dwindle, the Efords turn again to psychic Carol Pate. This time, Carol conducts the reading over the phone.
Okay.
Holding Tyson's photo, she gets a vision of the abductor.
I could see the one man who was tall, skinny, cowboy boots, and I remember seeing a belt buckle.
Then she senses an immediate danger.
They were playing roulette, Russian roulette, and arguing about what they were going to do with him.
With danger lurking on the horizon, will investigators find Tyson before it's too late? In Malvern, Arkansas, it's been 3 days since Tyson Eford was kidnapped from a parking lot. Detectives have questioned dozens of residents, searched hundreds of square miles, and alerted police departments and media throughout the state. But still, there is no sign of the missing boy. By now, investigators suspect they are looking for a body.